Kyle Klingman with Track Wrestling. We're going out to Colorado Springs for a 3-time age level world medalist, 3-time national team member. And she will be on the card for the Hawkeye Wrestling Club Showdown Open. Erin Golston, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited about this event. I really am interested in your story because you are from Illinois and then you went to Northern Michigan, maybe a non-traditional path, but how did you end up at Northern Michigan for that period of time?
Yeah, so like you said, I'm originally from Illinois, and I wrestled my freshman year at Crystal Lake South High School. And then the coach up in Marquette, Michigan, Shannon Gillespie, he actually reached out to my dad and was like, hey, would Erin be interested in coming out here? You know, the summer before I was out there too, just for a camp. And we kind of just knew that that was probably the best decision for me because I went from folk style on this boys team. And to be honest, I wasn't really accepted all that much from the coaches. And then I got to go up to Marquette where it's freestyle all year round. And I really think that was the changing point in my career. And I really don't think I'd be wrestling if I didn't move up there.
Why weren't you accepted?
You know, I'm not completely sure. There was something about, this is how they worded it. There was an open mat that wasn't mandatory. So I didn't go. I was still training with like my other clubs in Illinois, and they wouldn't let me wrestle off. So that was kind of an issue. And I was like, I know I need to get out of here.
And so once you made that transition to Northern Michigan, it was a 180. Is that right?
Completely. And I mean, it was hard to move. You know, I was only 15. I was like about 6 hours away from my parents in Illinois, but I had great people on my team, you know, great friends that helped me kind of make the transition a little bit easier. And the coaches were amazing. So it was a good experience.
What is that like then, going at 15? That's not traditional in a lot of ways for an American system unless you go to, I mean, Blair, it happens quite a bit, but was that tough?
Yeah, it was really tough, especially the first few months because like not only am I leaving home, I'm going to a completely different high school with people that I have no idea, you know, I don't know anyone in the school, not one soul in the town. So it was hard even just making friends at first, and even just getting used to the workload of the multiple practices a day, you know, and school in between. But I would say after a month or two, it got easier. And then eventually Jenna Burkett moved up there as well, and having a friend that made things a bit easier.
How do you make friends in that environment? Because it can't be easy.
You know, that's actually a really good question. I'm trying to think how I made friends. It was more of just, like, it started off, I was really shy. But then there were some people that are super outgoing and so like, hey, come eat lunch with us, you know, and a lot of people up there knew about the Olympic Training Center. So I think they were interested in that. And I think that kind of just worked my way into it.
How do you navigate the world when you are shy and there's people that are outgoing and it comes easy to them? How do you gain those skills to be able to navigate that when you have to open up a little bit?
I think at least my first rule, because I still am shy, I would consider myself shy, but I always look at it, if I greet someone with a smile at first, make myself look welcoming, it should all flow from there.
Was that something you just processed on your own, or do you have to get coached on that?
I think sometimes I realized on my own, because I know I used to get like, oh, you look angry, are you angry? Then I realized I'm like, my face just might naturally look upset. So if I look more welcoming, smile, then it'll be easier.
So we were talking, you've been in Colorado Springs where you are right now since you were 19 years old. You're 27 right now. How's that been being out there in the Springs?
It really doesn't even feel like I've been out here that long. But yeah, it's been 8 years and I love it here. I love the weather, I love the mountains, the environment, everything.
When you get an opportunity to train at the Olympic Training Center and have those facilities right there, how does that enhance your wrestling?
I feel like it enhances it in every aspect, not even my wrestling, but my mental game. You know, they have sports psychologists here. There's so many resources here. Sports psychology, nutrition. I feel like you can only get better being out here because there are so many resources.
Who do you tap into the most as far as just the coaches out there? You have Clarissa, you have Terry Steiner, you have just a wide range of great people. Who's your go-to?
I would say Terry. You know, I met Terry when I was just a little kid. I came out here to Colorado Springs for a camp. I think I was like 9 or 10, so I've known him for a while. And yeah, I would say him. And our wrestling styles are kind of similar, so I feel like he always knows the right thing to say. But all the coaches are great, but he's the one that's kind of the go-to.
So do you see yourself in the Springs for another 8 years?
Who knows, you know? I just take everything day by day. 8 years, I'll be a bit older woman by then. It'd be nice if I was still wrestling, but you never know.
How'd this Hawkeye Wrestling Club Showdown Open come on your radar? Did they approach you about this?
Sarah had actually approached me, and I know she had been talking to brands about me and like the staff over there, and she's like, hey, this is what's going on. Like, would you be interested? And as soon as I got the details, I was 100% in.
How do they then? Is it just, hey, we have to give you a contract and you have to sign for an amount? And do you know your opponent, which is Sarah Hildebrandt? Do you know all that up front?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have it all written down there. What weight you have to make, everything.
What'd you think about wrestling Sarah Hildebrandt, who's coming down from 53 kilos? What do you like about this match?
I'm excited because believe it or not, we've wrestled before, but it's like when we were freshmen in high school, at this girls tournament. So it's been a while, but we are each other's main training partners out here in Colorado Springs. So it'll be interesting to see how the match go in a competition. You know what I mean? Because we're just practicing now, but I'm excited for the push of the competition.
You guys both live in the Springs, so are you guys pretty close?
I'd say so, yeah. Like I say, we wrestle each other every single day, especially with COVID and everything. And when things started progressing into wrestling, we were our only partners, the only people we had, so.
And then what about weight class? Is there an agreed upon weight class going into this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to make 50 plus 2, so 52.
Okay. And as far as the preparation going into this, when was the last time you stepped on the mat to actually compete?
It's been since February, the Clip-On Open in Sweden. That was my last tournament.
Okay.
So it's been.
How's it going to feel to get out there and have a competition like this?
I'm excited. I'm really excited because this really is the longest I haven't competed. Like I usually have tournaments every couple of months, every other month, So I'm just excited just to get out there again. I know it's going to be different. I've never wrestled in like a super match type thing, but I'm really excited for my match and all the other matchups as well.
If it's 52 kilos, is that going to be an issue? Are you pretty close to that right now?
Oh yeah, I walk around like 51 something, 52, so it's perfect.
How about compensation for this? I know they have a pay structure for this, but did you feel like that was a good financial compensation for this match?
Oh, 100%. I think the Hawkeye Wrestling Club is definitely doing it right when it comes to these matches and compensation. Like it was basically an offer I couldn't turn down, so I'm really excited for it.
And then as far as getting out there, are you going to go the day of? Do you take a little time and be in Coralville for a while? How do you manage that for just the travel part of it?
So we're going to get out there a day before and then just leave a day after because we can't stay somewhere too long because the way COVID protocol here is at the OTC, you kind of have to send them your dates and just in and out.
How'd this affect you with the Olympics getting canceled as with everything else in 2020? But did that affect your training cycle quite a bit?
Oh, yeah, I think it kind of affected everyone because we went from just a few weeks away from Olympic trials, feeling great, and then all of a sudden, hey, it's going to be pushed back. But I kind of look at it in a way, it's a blessing in disguise when it comes to wrestling only because I had hurt my hand like 2 weeks before Olympic trials, 3 weeks before Olympic trials. I could barely move it. I was having all these issues with it. And I was wondering, like, how am I going to make a whole Olympic team with a bum hand? Like, it's possible, but it's not going to be as easy. So getting that news that it was pushed back was kind of like, okay, I get more time. Then we got the news that it was completely postponed to the next year. And it's like, sure, it's frustrating, but you got to look at the bigger picture, like people are losing their lives, their jobs, their livelihood. Like wrestling's big to me, but I know there's way bigger issues. So I've been just accepting it and training each day for next year.
I understand that you like robots. Is that right?
Yes, I do. Robots, really anything sci-fi.
What's your favorite robot movie?
Well, my favorite favorite movie ever is AI, Artificial Intelligence. I think it came out in like the 90s, but I just love it. I have yet to see a movie that's better than that.
If you like robots, I just saw a movie called Real Steel where they box and they're robots. Give me your analysis on that movie if you've seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I'd love to see. Is it new?
It's a few years old. Like they go in and it's got kind of that Rocky feel to it, and they have these robots that go in and box in place of the humans, and it's I thought it was pretty good. So I was hoping you had seen it so that
I'll definitely have to add that to my list. I don't know how I missed that one.
yeah, pretty good one. So how'd you get into robots? What is it about it?
Well, I think, like I said, I saw AI artificial intelligence when I was super, super young, and I kind of got hooked from there. And my dad's like a super sci-fi geek too, so anything robots, aliens, space related, I'm about. Anything that's like futuristic, I'm about.
Then you mentioned your dad. Your dad did wrestle, didn't he?
Yep, he wrestled. He's originally from Chicago. He ended up wrestling at Illinois State University.
Does he follow your career pretty close?
Oh yeah, definitely. He's been here every step of the way. Every step of the way.
Does your family kind of get excited when there's news like this with the Hawkeye Wrestling Club Showdown open?
I texted them as soon as I got the contract, and they're like, "Yes, let's go." They're wondering if, like, with COVID and everything, if there could be spectators, which I don't think there are. So that kind of sucks because they haven't seen me wrestle since I think April of last year. Because they were going to go to trials, obviously, this past April, but yeah, it's been a minute. So they'll just have to watch me on track.
I hope they will. And as far as training right now, how's that going? You have the right workout partners to get in shape for it?
Yeah, the training's been really good. We've definitely picked it up these past few weeks. You know, I wrestle Sarah, like I said, I wrestle Amy, Lauren, Jakara. Like, we definitely have a good mix of people in the room.
So you do train with Sarah going into this, even though she's your opponent?
It makes it interesting for sure, because it is tough, right? We know each other's style and everything, but it also makes that much more exciting because it's like a puzzle. You just have to find little openings. So I think it'll be a great matchup, a great match.
How would that work? Will you guys fly out together, be on the same plane going out to Coralville?
I think so. It's like I said, it's all a little strange, but yeah, we'll be on the same flight and everything.
When you get this opportunity and you know that this is, I don't know, this might be your only competition of the year, you don't know yet for the remainder of the year, does it allow you to just know that you have to peak for this event?
Yeah, that's how I feel. Feel like, well, any first competition back, there's the nerves and the stress and just excitement leading up to it. So I do feel like it's definitely something that I'm going to peak for. And like you said, we really don't know what's next. So I'm going to take full advantage of it.
How often do you get back to Illinois?
I usually go every Christmas. So I haven't gone home since last Christmas. I go Thanksgiving and Christmas, but yeah, I don't know how it's going to be this year. I hope I can make it home, but it'd be nice.
And then you got to tell me what's your favorite thing to do in the springs.
So my favorite thing to do in the springs is to go to Manitou Springs, and there's a penny arcade. So you have all these games, and they're just like a quarter. So, you know, old games, new games. I just love arcades. So it's definitely my favorite place in town.
When did you get into that?
I would say I think I discovered it like 4 years ago. So the first half of the years I was out here, I didn't even know it existed. And then one day I went and I instantly fell in love.
Were you always a video game junkie?
I've always been around it because my brother's huge with video games. But I fooled around with Nintendo 64 a little bit when I was younger and The Sims, but never arcade-like.
So do you like arcade games that have robots, I assume?
I don't know if I've ever played one that had robots, but I know I would like it if I was introduced to one.
Like, what's your go-to game when you go to the arcades?
So it's this little basketball game. It's like a little inflatable basketball, and you have an opponent, and you have to hit it, and it's these little basketballs are fueled by air, and you have to get in the hoops. And I actually just discovered that the last time I was there. I didn't even know it existed, but it's definitely my favorite one. I spent a lot of time with that one.
What do you think about how women's wrestling is growing? This is awesome to see. We got to get more colleges on board, but it seems like we're going in the right direction. What's it been like to be part of this movement?
It's amazing. Like my childhood Erin, 6-year-old Erin, when she first joined the sport, I never would have knew this many women would be in the sport. Because back then it was just me and Haley at tournaments now. And now it's like I coached Fargo in 2016, and we had a team of like 20 plus girls. But when I went to Fargo, it was only 3 of us. So it's just amazing just seeing the growth in Illinois and also across the country. And I'm just excited to see it continue growing because it's definitely not going to stop. We're going to be around for a while.
What have you seen as far as the growth? I mean, you talked about your experience early in the interview about how you weren't accepted and then you go to a place, but do you feel like there's been certain things that have led to this and the momentum that we have?
I think so. I think a lot of just being outspoken too on treatment, just bringing awareness that we're not treated fairly at times. And I think that's also fueled the growth of women's wrestling a little bit. But, and also just representation and just the support of women's wrestling on social media, you know, because I bet there's a girl out there that looks on the phone and sees someone wrestler and think, oh, maybe that's what I want to do, you know, or sees a match and maybe that's what I want to do. So I think social media has helped out quite a bit as well.
What's the response? Of course, you're in the Olympic environment there in the Colorado Springs, but do people get it? Are they still taken aback when you tell them you're a wrestler as your profession?
Yeah, I would say 80% of the time I tell someone that I'm a wrestler, they're like, oh, WWE? You know, they don't think the wrestling that we're doing. But I would say after I do tell them, it's like greeted with excitement, you know, it's not like oh, okay, you know. So I feel like it's definitely being more accepted.
Do you feel like it's growing though? If it's 80%, do you feel like slowly you're getting that percentage to whittle down where more people understand?
Yeah, and that's why I had to learn is just to be patient with it. Cause I don't know, I just expect people to accept women's wrestling. Like I don't get how you can't, but I also know just everyone comes from different walks of life and just kind of have to educate and introduce them to it. And I'm just happy even if it's 1% better each day.